Hello, hello, hello. Hello, TikTok. I didn't send the I didn't send the link almost to anybody, so I guess I'm going to talk by myself. But that's fine. So today is an interesting subject. We're going to talk about becoming a high value woman. It's an interesting subject for me as well. Why? Because some subjects I'm really good at. I'm proficient at, like flirting that we were talking about on Sunday. But some subjects I also have to work on. Just like I am a human being just like you, and so I will have to kind of to grow and become better at certain things now. And this is normal. Everybody is like this. It's nothing obviously wrong with that. So I'm also growing, and I'm also developing in this subject as well myself. So um, I love TikTok. TikTok is just joining. Everybody's joining. So today, this is the subject that I work on, and so we're going to be studying together. Now I know the theory. I just wish I would practice more. So this is how it is. Um, I I practice. I go up, and then I kind of lose them. I lose hi Helena. I lose the interest, and I kind of drop down. So this is my story with becoming high maintenance woman, high value woman. Sorry, not high maintenance. Keep in mind it's different, but still I'm kind of working on that and working all the time. At least I'm trying to. Every time I feel like I'm losing the focus, I get myself back. So we're going to start today. Now, I wanted to mention that I actually have clients that are more high value women than me, and you will be surprised. Like, Anastasia, what are you going to teach them if they are better at this subject than you? Well, I can because I know the theory and I know what needs to be done for them to become like that. Some of them they are natural like that, and some are not. Now, why are they better? Like, if for example, I will take a particular woman, and she can become a high value woman faster than me. Like what needs for that? What would be the prerequisites, so to say? I will tell you what. She will have to have more masculine energy. Basically, the high value woman is the woman that has a lot of masculinity and that can control that masculinity, and that masculinity is clean and she can channel it in the right direction. So that's what the high value woman is. Now, me, on the other hand, I don't have much masculinity, or so to say, almost none at all. So for me, it's hard to channel there's something that I don't even have. Now, when I develop the masculinity, obviously I can channel it. So it's an interesting subject. Today, we're basically talking about how to use your masculine energy that is given to you for your own advantage, and if you don't have any, then you need to develop it first, and you need to develop the masculinity and then channel it to become the high value woman. Now, as you know from my previous dialogues, a woman should be 75% feminine, 25% masculine. A man, vice versa, 75% masculine, 25% feminine. Why? Because masculine energy for a woman gives her the security, the order, the standards. So imagine femininity is like water. If there are no borders for the water, it will be just all over the place, and it will not do any kind of good to anybody. It will become dirt at one point. Now, that's why a woman needs masculinity too. Not too much, though, not more than 25%. And it has to be clean masculinity channeled to the right cause. Now, why do men needs femininity? Because they need some kind of emotions. They need to socialize in this world. They need to build relationship, and without emotions, without any kind of feelings, they wouldn't be able to do that. So, a man needs femininity to connect, and women need masculinity to keep structure and to keep themselves balanced and secure. So That's basically there. I mean, so we keep in mind that you should have 25% of masculinity if you are a woman. If you are a man, 25 femininity. That's the goal. It's a healthy goal for everybody. Now, so we kind of get to that point. So if you don't have masculinity to channel to become a high value woman, then you need to work on masculinity. You need to raise energy of fire and air in you. The same, the things that I am doing. I'm basically working on my air and fire all the time. I have a little fire and no air whatsoever. So I create the masculinity in me, and then I channel it to where I want it to get. And I will explain how it works. Now, if you don't have the masculinity, it is your task and your kind of job to get the masculinity in you before you will be able to channel it. If you don't have no masculinity, it will be very hard for you to become a high value woman. Not very hard, it will be impossible. So, if you think that you can just skip through this stage and just become high value woman, it will be almost, it will be very, very hard unless you have like a very strong father or father figure, somebody who will look out for yourself. But then again, there must be some kind of strength inside of you that will be watching out for you. I mean, your father will not always be around, like your husband also. So you need to have masculinity. You need to. When you have it inside, the man outside will reflect it. So work on masculinity. Now, why some of my clients are more high value? Because they have more masculinity. They have more masculinity, so they have more energy to channel. Their overall life is a little different because they're more masculine. How do I know that they are more high valued women? Well, because they have a high standards. Let's start with that. So a high valued woman is the woman that is basically she's feminine. She embraces her femininity, but yet she has a very strong very high standards, very strong standards. Um, she has very strong self-respect. She does work on herself, so she has very high standards for herself, very high expectations for herself. She constantly works on herself. She constantly improves herself, and she has very healthy boundaries when it comes to people joining her in her life, or especially men. So this is the high valued woman. Now, high valued women um, will not think twice before choosing the best available for herself. So this is how I know that my clients are more high valued women because of their standards, because of their demands, and because of what they can provide for themselves. So um, if a client of mine decide to buy, so she needs a car and she decide to buy herself a $30,000 car, I will think twice before buying myself this kind of car. Now she will have a man in her life. If she will be feminine, obviously she will be able to attract a man that will easily give her the $30,000 car. Now, I, on the other hand, if I will do everything right, I will get a man that will also be analyzing, well, do you really need a $30,000 car? Or maybe we can do with something less and then spend the 5,000 on something else or something like that. So you see, this is how I know that they have high standards. Is because I see that from their actions towards themselves and from obviously actions that they generate from men once they become feminine. If you are just masculine, you won't get much from man. But if you are feminine and has the healthy masculinity, clean masculinity, you will be able to create a healthier relationship and draw stronger man into your life. Now, um, for example, I will give you an example that happened very recently. I have a client, and we were talking with her about on this subject, and why we started this, why we started even talking about this, obviously because something bothered her. I'm not going to get into details; it's kind of her business, but she mentioned something to me. Like, for example, she only takes Uber Black for herself, so she only orders Uber Black. That's it. She will not go for nothing less. Um, and um, and this is what she expects from guys. So when she asks a guy to call her a taxi, she obviously expects him to call Uber Black. She doesn't even ask if it's not Uber Black that showed up. She's not going to get in the car like this. So it is absolute standard for her. She does it for herself all the time. And I mean, because she does it for herself all the time, this is her standard. The guys always order Uber Black for her as well. If the car that comes is not Uber Black, she's not getting in. She's telling him, please call Uber Black like this. So this is her life. like on the normal, so to say. Now, if I ask the guy to call me a taxi and it won't be Uber Black, I will get in the car and I will go. Even though for myself, I always order Uber Black. But if somebody else will order me, I wouldn't make a big deal and I will get in the car and I will just go with whatever it is. Even if it's the car without air conditioning, I mean, I wouldn't be very happy, but I wouldn't make a big deal out of it because I am more feminine, and my femininity at this point hurts me. I am empathetic. I care about others. I think about what others, whether they can afford it, whether they cannot, and that's where my high valueness drops because of that. Because I start thinking about others more than about myself. Why? Because I have a lot of energy for it. I'm empathetic. I am feminine like that. So this is just an example. I want you to understand the difference. High value woman is not this kind of this kind of woman that doesn't talk to others. She does. She just talks, um, prioritizing herself in any conversation. Good morning. um, this is important. Important. She is not treating people worse than they deserve. She's not humiliating them. She's not putting them down. Um, she brings her needs and priorities, desires ahead of thoughts about others, and that's what makes a high value woman. Um, so then you will ask me, well, Anastasia, I mean, you've been preaching for a year about being feminine, and now you're telling me that it can hurt me. Maybe I should be masculine then, and be a high value. Well, you can be, but even though those women are super masculine and they have high standards, at one point they become exhausted because they do crave softness. They do crave um, not constantly being um, in control. They do want to be in trust and in pleasure. At one point, they become exhausted, tired, unsatisfied, and they start having problems with the health because they are so always strict and they're in control and always analyzing, always controlling everything. So you have to become feminine if you are a woman and you want to live long, beautiful, successful life and be beautiful and young forever. You will have to become feminine regardless. Plus, if you want to have a healthy relationship with men, you also have to, like, a traditional healthy relationship with the man. So a man, a provider, and a woman that is basically a receiver, a woman that creates. You will have to become feminine. So whether you want it or not, even though, and for this subject, the masculinity is more important. But again, it's only 25% of your time, and it's only when masculinity is clean and healthy. It's not the darker, dirty masculinity where you want to kind of just use men and squeeze out of them whatever you can and just discard them. This is not the right approach. Um, so as a feminine woman, as I already mentioned, I tend to hang into the emotions of others. I'm highly empathetic, which is my kind of, maybe you can say, even cursed. Because no woman should be hanging the emotions of others. This is where it hurt me a little bit. And if you have a lot of feminine energy, whether you're a man or a woman, you will be like that too. You will be thinking about others. This is my basically work in progress. So it's not that I'm afraid to ask for Uber Black. It's that I don't even want to go through this hassle and trouble to even bother with that. So for me, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, I really don't care. And if you have a lot of this I don't care, you can really drop your standards, and once you will drop them really low, you will suffer. You will start suffering. You will be unsatisfied with your life, and you will start hating the man next to you, and he will not understand why, because it seems like everything was fine. You were okay with the simple taxi, and now suddenly, and now suddenly you want Uber Black, and you don't understand why he never ordered for you. So it's like you must see that it is important to become a high value woman, not only for myself, for my own sake, for my own sanity, for my own progress and my development, but it's also important for the healthy relationship, for the healthy atmosphere in any relationship, and also important for the development of men around you. Because as I said on the previous dialogues, if I have high wishes and high standards, I will attract the man that is like this, or men that are around me will raise up in the society because they need to deliver according to my standards. So they will also progress, and this is important. Remember, if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it at least for people around you. They will be grateful, um, like that. But I would encourage everybody to strive to become a high value woman for their own sake. It is a development. So for me, it's my work. Even though sometimes I'm like, oh, that's not important, really. Why should I go to a fancy restaurant? I can just we can just go to a cafe and have just a casual dinner. Okay, yeah, we can have a casual dinner, but at one point, I mean, I will have to start. I will need to experience a different, maybe high-end life, and not only with my girlfriends, but with the man too. I need to start experiencing that man that I'm with can provide me this life and see the strengths in him. So like that, I would have to go in discomfort, or I will have to overcome um, my kind of no desire to get into conflict and tell the guy at one point, listen, I always order Uber Black. Can you order me Uber Black? The thing is that no guy will say no. I wouldn't. I mean, I never heard that a guy will start fighting because I would ask for Uber Black. Never. I mean, what is the difference? I mean, maximum $10-15. So nobody's going to make a big deal out of it. So do it. I mean, start with Uber. And then raise up to high standards. Once you will understand that this is normal, absolute normal, and it's a standard for you, the universe and man, the masculinity around you, man in particular, will be corresponding with that. So they will be fine with you wanting to be, you wanting to have a better things in life. And if the guy doesn't support you, it is just your fears inside of you, your kind of insecurities. Doesn't mean he doesn't mean that. I actually had this conversation not very frequently with the man, and I told him I am noticing that men sometimes are putting down women and women's ambitions. And he said, "Are you sure?" And his "Are you sure?" like locked me in my mind, and I started thinking, I mean, yeah, I only see what is inside of me, basically. So yeah, like, don't allow any kind of comments that maybe somebody will tell you bring you down. You growing to be high value woman, not a low value woman. So like that, basically. So we're going to basically to learn how to become a high value woman together, and how to get to that point, because not everybody can just at once decide, okay, so that's it, I'm a high value woman, so from now on my standards are super high, everybody should match. Because if I will right now at this point decide, all right, so I'm only going to this kind of places, I'm only eating this, well, maybe, okay, so I'm only flying private on private planes, I'm only eating eating anyways, I eat really good, so I'm only wearing I'm only wearing designer clothes. I only stay in country clubs when it comes to the beach or something like that. So if I will decide like that, so I will jump very high. No man in my surrounding will match me because I wouldn't believe in myself. So we need to raise slowly. As I always say, in the world of energy, you can't make fast moves. You need to slowly raise up and up and up. And how is it going to be done, especially if you're not from a wealthy family, especially if you're not from a family with the very high standards, and especially if in your family you were kind of the person, the empath of the family, the person who always cares about everybody. Now suddenly you will have to make yourself a priority. It would be hard, but it's obviously possible. So the first attribute of a high value woman, the trait is self-respect. So the woman respects herself very, very much. Respects to the point that she would not allow herself to show disrespect to herself and to others. Like, for example, If I know that sugar is no good for me, as a high value woman, I probably wouldn't be eating sugar. But I'm highly empathetic, so when my inner child wants sugar, my inner child gets sugar. So you see, I and there is like a soft border in there. Yes, I should obviously love and treat my inner child, but not every day, and not to harm my like my overall body, right? Also, for example, if I if I decide that something is not to my standard, I shouldn't be doing it, even if I'm just by myself. So, for example, I'm ordering a taxi and the taxi is not so nice. Instead of me, oh, I don't want to offend this guy, I will just get in. I can just cancel and order another taxi. I'm basically showing self respect to myself. I'm convincing myself that I deserve self respect. Others will provide the same self respect. So, this is the first trait of a high value woman. If you don't have that, it will be very hard to move on to the next one. The next one, the next one is independence, and this is probably where I'm struggling. So it is kind of funny. I'm super independent, but yet for me it's a burden. So even though I'm super independent, I would gladly just surrender and let somebody and be completely dependent. And I know that I wouldn't last for too long, but I think like inside of myself, I wouldn't mind it. So and how the so what is independence? Independence is basically showing that you're absolutely self-sufficient. You're self-sufficient and you are not depending on others. How does it help? So if a woman is not self-sufficient and she, for example, could not provide for herself, she can she start lowering her standards just to make sure that the guy is providing for her, even though she's doing this service to herself and to the guy in her life, basically, and to the relationship between her and this guy. But now, if she would be independent, so she would have her own means, he still would be providing for her, but she would know that she has her own means. At any moment, she can basically move on. So she will have this kind of security, and that security will allow her to keep her standards high. Doesn't mean that she would treat him bad or that she would be kind of snobbing him. I hope not. If it's clean femininity, she would never do that. But it would give her a really good, strong strength and security in life. So it is important. Now, how can she get to this level of independence and self-sufficiency? She should pursue her kind of maybe a career that she like, or maybe she wants to do some kind of project. So she should have something to speak for herself, for her, outside of the relationship. So the relationship should not define her. And if you listen to me, you know that every woman has four roles. So relationship is only one role, and if you are proportionate in all your roles, you will be independent without any effort. But if at this moment you are not, then find at least something that you can have some kind of accomplishment. So I don't know, maybe sell your old clothes on marketplace or something. I mean, especially if this is designer clothes, you can raise the bank, and then you can invest money and start getting a dividends or something similar. So again, the first trait was self-respect. The second one is independence. And as I said, a lot of women are not high value because of this one of independence. Because when they feel like they're depending on a man, really lower their standards very much. And I saw this in my life. I saw women like this. I even was at one point, for a very very brief moment, in something somewhat similar situation, because I thought I'm depending on the man, even though I wasn't, because I always had incomes of my own and I always was kind of had the money. But I thought that he can provide better, and I didn't want to give up. I also see a lot of these situations in Miami when when women are not working and they think that um, they will not survive without a man. They start depending on him. They start lowering the standards because he's complaining, and he, in return, will start having issues at his business and with the money. Again, because she's lowering the standards, and once she's low in the standards, she doesn't need a man that can provide her to her high standards. So if she doesn't need a man that can provide to the standards that are high, then her man doesn't need that much money. He can just have less money. So men start having problems. Once men start having problems, they start complaining more, and then she's lower and lower and lower. I remember I had a neighbor. So I live in Sunny Isles. I have a neighbor. They were living together. Within 2 years, I mean, I don't even want to tell you where they moved and how low they went because of her standards. And I told her, it is because of you lowering your standards. And why it started, because she dependent on the man. She was afraid to lose him. So this is the second trait. The third trait is confidence. Again, confidence is a trait of masculinity. Usually, feminine women don't have this trait, and they are not even focusing on it too much. But confidence is the strength um, um, in yourself. So when you know your standards, when you know what you want in life, you wouldn't just allow somebody to influence you, and you wouldn't just switch your mind out of nowhere just because somebody told you you have to. When you're confident and you know that you're absolutely right, trust me, nobody will be able to change it for you. You will be able to convince others, and that's where you should be standing. And you will be standing there if when you have masculinity. Why? Because you know, worst case scenario, I can provide for myself. So confidence is important. You need to really, really know and expect what you want from life, and be non-apologetic about that. It is crucial. Um, no matter no matter what anybody says. So, for example, if my plan is within 5 years to have a villa in Italy, and um, and to have like a wealthy husband, and to have, I don't know what I mean, and to contribute to charity 500,000 every year. And now I meet a guy and he's telling me, "Oh my God, what well, like your dreams are impossible. Why don't you settle for less?" And I'm like, "Yeah, maybe he's right." I mean, it would be very wrong. First of all, it would be wrong for me. Second, it would be wrong for him. Who knows? Maybe he's that guy that will be able to buy that villa for us together. Now, if I will agree with him that it's too much, maybe he will never get that opportunity to make that much of money to buy that villa. So instead of me even arguing with him, I could say, "Listen, everything's possible. 5 years is a long way, and I don't think we should limit ourselves. I mean, depending on what the guy does. I mean, he can get some project that would really pay him off or whatever. I don't know. He can buy in the next way of of coins. He can buy some coins and become a millionaire. So what I want to say is confidence is crucial, and confidence is for the most part a masculine trait. So just for confidence, you need to work on your masculinity, because confidence is our fire and air. And that's it. That's just it. You know, no water has confidence. No earth has confidence. Well, earth has some because it has grounding, but for the most part, it's energy of air and energy of fire. The fourth trait is healthy boundaries, and I would even say that high value women don't have boundaries per se. They're more like mm, they give this aura and these vibes that make people think twice before overcrossing the allowed boundaries. And why does that happen? Because these women are not afraid to say when the boundaries were crossed. When somebody is overstepping the boundaries, they wouldn't be afraid to kind of mention, "Hey, this doesn't work with me." Now, if you are a feminine woman, you would think twice. Like, for example, if you're an earth woman and you're planning to marry this guy, and he's kind of pushing you, and you already have a wedding dress, um, ready, and you'll be like, "Okay, so I could not break the plans. I would have to kind of to give in to his pushing, to kind of I can lower my standards a little bit because of the plans that I have for the future." If you are a feminine woman in energy of water, again, with lack of confidence or security, then you will also be like, "Well, yes, that's okay. Maybe, like, you would allow people to overstep all over you because of this of thinking about others more, because not having enough strength in yourself. And that's what I like about masculine women. They wouldn't allow that for anybody, and they're not mean about this. They're not at all. They don't keep a grudge. They don't get upset. They're not offended. They're not emotional. They just say how it is. Hey, I don't think this car is deserving me. I mean, I'm so beautiful, and I think I can have an Uber Black. What do you say about that? So they are. They have their boundaries, but they are not building a strong walls. Like me, for example, many years back, I would have had such thick walls and wouldn't let anybody through them because I was afraid that they will hurt me, that people would hurt me. I would get too close to them and they will hurt me. Now, masculine women, and if I would have masculinity at that time, like I do now, I wouldn't be afraid of that. I would welcome the people in, and then I would deal with them if if something would go not according to my plan. So what I want to say is that healthy boundaries is a trait of a self-value woman, so high-value woman. And I want you look, uh, not allowing people in your life is not healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries when people are in your life and you can tell them when they overstep in the boundaries, and you telling that not in a way that they are like upset and sad and everything, but you tell them in a very nice way and they understand. They absolutely understand, when they can do, when they cannot do. So that's that. Another one, and you would be surprised, but it's kindness to others. And you will say, well, but they are not feminine, they are not empathetic. Yeah, but I didn't say empathy, I said kindness to others. When somebody is self-sufficient, confident, has a healthy relationship with people and healthy boundaries, it's much easier to be kind to others. And I think on one of the dialogues about money, I said wealthy people are usually very nice and very kind because they have the strength around them. They can afford to be kind, so to say. And that's what it is. They don't um, uh, they they prioritize their own needs, and because they are always prioritized by themselves and by others, they have the liberty to be kind to others and kind of do a nice gesture here and there. Now, if I would be in my dirty femininity, in my dirty water, and I would be catering to others all the time, then at one point I will be like, well, when somebody will cater to me, when will I get something? Now, masculine woman will never have the issue because she always prioritizes herself. So for a change, she wouldn't mind to be kind to others, just for a change and feel how it is, just, and feel so accomplished that she did something for the others. So like that, you would be surprised. But masculine woman often kinder, much kinder than feminine woman. That's if I'm comparing dirty masculinity and dirty femininity, basically like that. Obviously, if a woman is feminine and she's for healthy femininity, she will be very empathetic, very kind too, and she wouldn't allow any negativity or any abuse on her because she's in pleasure and everybody just wants to add to her pleasure. But we live in a real world, so I'm talking real life situations. Usually, feminine women, they get somewhat abused because of how they are trying to please others and put priorities of others on themselves. Now, masculine women will never do that and never allow that, and therefore she is usually she doesn't mind to be kind when there is when somebody asks her for something, like that. So keep that in mind. This is important. And when you will develop your healthy masculinity, you will understand what I'm talking about. You will see. It will be it will be easy for you to be kind to others because you know that everybody is kind to you, that everybody prioritizes you. So why not to also treat others the same way and prioritize them at least once in a while, and especially if it's not, if it doesn't burden. I think couple dialogues back, I was telling that I open the door for people when I'm like behind them or something. Like I could hold the door when it's not really, when I'm not going out of my way. But if I would go out of my way, I would start expecting them to hold it for me as well. So this is where the kindness is. I'm prioritizing myself, but it's not hard for me. So okay, fine. I will also help you as well, like this. The next trait of a high value woman is continuous self improvement and development. I would say that even though it's not the most important, but I would say for me it was one of the most important traits to become a high value woman. Once I start constantly improving myself, and I'm not talking about meditating, and even though for some of you it might be meditating, but I was talking more about sport. I start kind of working on my fire and air through sport. I start feeling, I've seen the progress. I start feeling more accomplished. I start delivering on what I'm telling myself. I was even reading like 50 pages every day from some book. So I had like a whole list about it, and I think in a dialogue high value I spoke about it. So once I start doing all that, I start feeling very like look, I'm not just any woman. I'm so I'm so high value because I'm doing so much effort on myself. So if I'm putting so much effort, I mean, how could you treat me um not good enough? I'm already putting so much effort. So that's why when I was on my journey to become a high value woman, this was, I think, the most important one was this for me. But it's not the most important is self-respect. So okay, continue self improvement, and you choose what it would be. It's up to you. For everybody, it's different. Maybe some people are constantly working. Usually, masculine women, they constantly work on their appearance, and as I spoke before, masculine women are very high maintenance when it comes to their appearance. They always on point. They doing sports. They're doing this and this and this. They're like they're looking like walking Barbies. They're very beautiful usually, and they put a lot of effort into it. So they are not only doing plastic surgeries, they also put a lot of effort into sport, into their food. That they're very disciplined, and this puts a higher price kind of on them. They respect themselves. They know that they really work on themselves hard, and they can demand for that. So if you want, it could be an education. I mean, I had a client. She decided that she's going to be reading every single day for half an hour a day because she's not a reader. It didn't went too well for her, so I suggested to her, why don't you do audiobooks? I mean, you spend in the gym for 2 hours every day. Might as well, might as well kind of listen to the books because 1 hour she was spending with a trainer and one was by herself. So that 1 hour that she spent by herself, she might as well listen to the books. That's why she started doing it, and she felt very accomplished when within 1 month she listened to, I think, 5 or 6 books, and she felt very good. She got like some new ideas about future projects and everything. So if you would need to constantly develop yourself, you when you know that you work on yourself, it will raise your value, first of all, in your own mind and your own eyes. The next one is they're true to themselves. A high value woman is true to herself. What is it called now, all over TikTok? Authenticity. So they're authentic to themselves, to their ideas, to their projects, to their beliefs, to their standards. So they're not usually, they don't try to please anybody. They don't try to be liked by anybody. They're authentic. They really are what they are, and they stick to to kind of their beliefs. And I seen women like this. I actually have a client like this. It's not easy for me to work with her because of that, because she has beliefs, her own kind of set of beliefs, her own ideas about the world, and when she argues with me all the time. But I know there is a reason why she's working with me, because she sees something. She sees that I have the knowledge that she doesn't have, and obviously I can add something to her life. So I appreciate that about her, even though she sometimes argues with me, she sometimes it's challenging, but I know that she's doing it from a good perspective. She respects me, she respects herself, and she's authentic to her beliefs. But yet she wouldn't mind to change them if I will prove her wrong, which I do if I have to, obviously. But she wouldn't pretend to be something. She wouldn't fake it. She wouldn't tell me what I want to hear, and this is what I like about my masculine kind of clients. They always true to themselves. I really admire that about them. They wouldn't think twice about whether they hurt my feelings or anything like that. They just true to themselves, and they don't hurt my feelings because they authentic, and I appreciate that for them. I respect them as long as there is respect between us. I mean, they can say whatever. So and the people usually like people like that. They like people that are authentic, that are faithful to themselves. Or they anybody would always choose somebody who is authentic about their views and everything over the person who is just trying to please and has no opinions, like that movie with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, what is The Runaway Bride, when she didn't know how she likes her ex because she was just trying to please the guy that she was dating at that moment. So she she liked eggs the way the guy liked. So authenticity, being true to yourself, is really a strong trait for a high value woman. And to tell you the truth, it is my challenge too when it comes to making plans. But I could say that on 90% I'm pretty good. If something is not to my liking, if something doesn't agree with me, I will basically speak up, because there is no way I'm going somewhere and I will be quietly hating on myself, on the place, on the ambience, and on the person that brought me here. But this is something that obviously everybody should work on and be. With my opinions, I'm pretty strong. I could say that I'm very authentic. I mean, even though my opinions can that do not resonate often, I'm pretty confident about them, just because these are not my opinions. These are the knowledge that was given to me, and I'm just giving it to you. So I'm pretty confident. All right. So, and the next point, the last one, is high valued women. They don't take no for an answer, and they don't take defeat for an end, like for an ending result. And this is what I value the most in high valued women. I knew high valued women long before I became one, and I really admired that in them. I was working with one, and when there was some kind of yeah, some kind of misfortune at work, she would never be like, "Oh, always like this, always happens like this. That's it. I need to look for another job." Never. The most she would say is like, "Okay, well, I guess we're going for drinks, and tomorrow we will figure out how we're going to do this." I love that about her. I mean, she would never give up. She was like Scarlett O'Hara. I will think about this tomorrow, but she would never allow negativity or some kind of self pity get into in the way of her thinking. And this is amazing. It is also only masculine trait. Only masculinity can allow that, because femininity, the earthy energy would be really set back with that, and water energy would be depressed for months. So what I want to say is that no high value woman will allow anything negative. Again, there is no negative or positive in the world of energy, but nothing can set her back and can disappoint her. Nothing. Like, she's that strong. I think even because masculinity grows in challenges and in accomplishments and achievements, for them it's even a little turn on. Okay, let me see how I'm going to turn it around. Let me see how I can do it better, because I'm not accepting this kind of this defeat like that. And this is admiring. So nobody can basically change her opinion or put her down, because it's very hard. She will she will bounce back right away. And this is what. So basically, this is basically what a high value woman is. I will go over these traits again, but I want you to understand. A high value woman is the woman with healthy masculinity. Doesn't mean that she's 100% masculine, no, because then she will be very masculine and won't be good. There won't be no softness. But she has some portion, some percentage of masculinity in her, and that masculinity is looking out for her, and it's keeping her at a particular level of life, particular level, the standard of life, particular even at a particular lifestyle. And a high value woman would not allow anything to drop her from there, only up, never down. Even if she drops down for a little bit, she still will be able to kind of bounce back and go up again, and even maybe higher. So this is what high value woman is. It's not the woman that's basically oh, I'm too good for this, I'm too good for that, who are you, don't speak to me. It's not like that. Usually these women are kind. And I worked in finance world for a long time, and I seen this women. These women are usually, they have money of their own. Even if they have wealthy husbands, they have money of their own. So they were my clients. And I live in Miami, so I obviously see a lot of these women in my surrounding. I know them, and I can see them. Yes, some of them become too masculine and it hurts their men. Some of them get into dirty masculinity and they become more about how can I use somebody, how can I get advantage, how can I manipulate somebody into something. But for the most part, if it's healthy masculinity and it's only a portion of it, these women are very successful in being in relationship, in whatever they do in their projects, and also their men are very successful because of their high standards. Their man has to be on the same level to provide them their standards. Again, we're attracting energetically. So if my standards are here, I couldn't attract a man that's here. I mean, that would be very strange. How is he going to provide to me? So a man that I would attract will always be at least here. Ideal would be if he would be somewhat up, but at least he will be here. And it's always like this. Trust me, I travel a lot, and no matter where I'm going, the men that are attracted to me, that are connecting with me, are on the same level at least than that I am. And you will be so. If you will tell me, oh, there's no wealthy man right now, or where I'm living, there is no wealthy man. Wealthy men are everywhere, everywhere. You will be surprised. Um, so again, to become a high value woman, you have to develop masculinity in you. If you don't have masculinity, so how you will know whether you have masculinity or not? You look at your natal chart. If you have planets in fire or in air, so it's Libra, Aquarius, um, Gemini. This is air. Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius, this is fire. So if you have a lot of planets, especially personal planets in this too, then you have masculinity. If you don't, then you don't have masculinity. Then you need to develop masculinity. So fire, the easiest is to go for a run. This way you activate your solar plexus. This is where your fire is. And air is to do something different, to travel, to change the environment around you. So this is how you develop air. So once you will develop the masculinity in you, then you can use it. And how are you going to use it? You're going to use it on raising your standards. You won't be able to raise your standard like uh, like if I wake up tomorrow and like, okay, that's it, my standards are high now. It won't happen like this. It has to be gradually. You gradually raising your standard. And how are you going to raise your standards? Through working on this seven traits of a high value woman, the seven aspects. The first one is self-respect. So a high value woman will always choose herself. Nobody else goes before her. And I keep repeating this. So no priorities of others will go ahead of her, and she will not be apologizing for it. She will just accept it as it is. Now it also comes when in a relationship with herself. So she also chooses herself over anything, even when she's one on one with herself. So self respect is crucial, very, very important in her life. Self respect overall is important. So the second one, and I think this is the quality that a lot of women, feminine women, especially women in dirty feminine energy, are missing is self sufficiency. They are not independent. So they don't mind to be dependent on the guy, and because they're dependent on the guy, they kind of suck it up and basically take anything from him or whatever, or accept the lifestyle that he's offering, just as long as he's supporting them a little bit. Thanks God I don't see it too much, but I remember from childhood I saw it and not once. And once when you're self-sufficient, when you have something going on for yourself, when you have a lifestyle of yourself, when you have some kind of projects, some passions that you pursue, you will be more self-sufficient and independent. You can have all the money in the world, and um, you don't have to spend them. I mean, the man can still be a man as long as you know that you have some fun. The third one is confidence. This is very important. You shouldn't be apologizing for your high standards or for your choices in life. If somebody does not agree, I mean, that's kind of their challenge, but you should be pretty confident about what you want. The fourth one is they have healthy boundaries, and I don't mean that they build a brick wall around themselves and don't let anybody in. They love people. High value women are women with healthy masculinity, and healthy masculinity loves to socialize because that's how they grow, that's how they make connections. But when they allow men and women in their life, um, they keep everybody in check, and they make sure they will let them know if something is not as it should be, and you should do it as well. Now, building a wall and not letting people in is not healthy boundaries. Remember this. This is not. I remember when I was working with the mentor, and I was always talking about I need to have healthy boundaries, and like it was like an eighth subject all the time I would say. And she's like, a self-sufficient woman doesn't have boundaries. People just know how to treat her right. That's it. She used to repeat me all the time, and it finally, like 2 years after, stuck into my head. All right. Also, these women, high value women, are usually very kind, and they're kind because they can afford kindness, because they prioritize so much on themselves that they have time and resources to focus on others, and that's what it is. So once you will become kind to others, not because you feel you have to, or because you want to earn their love, that's when you're high value woman. Another one is they continuously develop themselves and work on self improvement. This is like a must. So they whatever it is, whatever it could be, maybe education for you, maybe working on your body, maybe I'm not sure. I mean, whatever it is for you, just make sure that there is some kind of self improvement. um, and the next one, they are very authentic when it comes to their ideas, to their overall being, to their style, to anything, so they're very authentic. They're not going to even explain themselves. If they want to eat a donut for breakfast, they're not going to tell, "Oh, this is okay. I will treat myself for today, and tomorrow I will hit the gym hard." No, I want a donut. I want a donut. That's it. No, no explanation here. And obviously they don't please nobody. They are not trying to win anybody over. And the last one is they are able to bounce back, and this is thanks to their masculinity purely, because masculinity just loves the good challenge and the good and good development, good growth. So basically, like that. These are the traits, and if you will be able to develop them and embody these traits, you will become a high value woman. And just as a motivation, make sure that you do want to become high value woman, because you're doing it for yourself, for your growth, your development, for your relationship overall, and for men around you. If you have a man, if you don't have a man, that's fine. But men that will be coming to you, they will appreciate it, because with you they are growing. You giving them this opportunity, you wanting things, they are growing with you. Like, for example, if a man, let's say you have an admirer, and he knows that you only go to upscale restaurants, he knows that he has to come up with a particular amount of money to take you there. Then he also has to kind of make sure that he's fit and he looks apart to take you there. And this would keep him on his toes. I mean, he would be constantly developing because he wants to take you out. So he will be watching. He would make sure that he looks good. He's dressed nice. He has the money. It will help him to develop. He will be working hard just to take you out maybe once a month or so. So it's not like you're doing just for yourself. If you are so empathetic like I am, do it for the world around you, for the man around you. And if you feel ever guilty about asking for something, or asking for a better thing, don't feel guilty. Remember, men will appreciate it. Not only they will appreciate it, they will be like, "Oh, I have such a woman in my life." At first maybe they will be like kind of fighting you, but in the long run they will really appreciate it. I mean, maybe it's just the man I know, but as I think I already mentioned, I used to work with this guy, and his wife would not work. She was just this socialite. The guy was the top performing investor in our firm, and I highly believe that it's all because of her her standards and her kind of she would do charity. She was like on this committee, on that committee. And for me at that time, it was surprising that she was not working. And I said, don't you want a woman that works? And he's like, no, I love that my wife is so high maintenance. He would say high maintenance, but that's exactly what was driving him. She would not agree to live in a simple house, so he had to kind of buy a larger house because they had these charity events, these parties that need to accommodate people. So he was striving and developing for her, you would say. But overall, if they were in each other's life, he wanted her. He wanted this woman, so she would push him to his over his limits. And that's basically it. So don't apologize if your standards are high. If your standards are high, be like, thanks, thank you. That means that my masculinity is clean. That means that I'm becoming high value woman. Honestly, when I start working on my masculinity, my standards start raising. I start becoming all of this. I start more focusing on myself than on others. I start respecting myself. I wouldn't just take anything in. Like I could go to a restaurant. I mean, I'm traveling, so I can go to some place, and if I don't like the way um, like the food looks or overall situation, I can just get up and leave. Yeah, I will have to pay, but I'm not putting something in my body that I'm not feeling confident about, like that. So I started respecting myself more. I became more independent because now I have a lot of masculinity. Well, not that much, but I have masculinity that I can use for my projects, and therefore I can make more money, and obviously I can invest the money. So like that, and overall, my boundaries became healthy. Obviously, I love people. I love them in my space, but I also know how to keep them off if it needs to be, and I don't feel like I need to apologize if I don't want to meet with somebody, or if I'm tired and I'm done socializing, like that. I became kinder at once because I see that people are not mean. They just need to be kept in check. So now I can afford to be kind to others. And obviously, the self improvement is a part that I always had, so that's not a problem. But I became more consistent with that. In my case, it's sport. I became more authentic now that I'm so sure about myself, so independent, and this and that, and I have self respect. Now I can afford to be authentic. I always was somewhat authentic, but now I don't even have to explain myself. Like even like before, I used to kind of explain myself maybe sometimes for my choices of anything. Right now, I don't even explain. Um, and um, and I'm grateful that right now I can bounce back faster. So I don't allow myself to sit in negativity. To tell you something funny, sometimes when I want to cry, I tell myself, okay, Anastasia, you can cry 10 minutes. I put an alarm and then I allow myself, so maybe I will cry for 2 minutes and then I'm done. I mean, it's almost comical because I'm timing myself on crying. That's how it is. And when it becomes comical, you already don't want to cry. So that's what happened. And you will also, the main thing is develop the masculinity, then channel the masculinity into these traits, and this is how you'll become a high value woman. And when you become high value woman, you are doing it for the best of you and for the best for everybody around you. Okay, I'm done. That's it. If you have questions, ask. If not, then we will finish, and I will go practice my being high value. Look at the cup. I have happy smile, and here a little smiley face in my lipstick. All right. Let me tell you what we're going to talk next. I think I was done. I was already forgot. Oh, dark versus light femininity. I think on Thursday. Oh no, on Thursday, lucky girl syndrome, and on Sunday, either dark versus light femininity or have men give you whatever you want. So either or, I'm not sure yet, depending on my watery mood. But on Thursday, for sure, we'll have lucky girl syndrome because it was such a hot topic all over TikTok and here and there, and I was researching it, and my analytical mind wanted to find. And I will give you my kind of example. My my experience with this, and I will tell you what I was able to find and how to get to this lucky girl situation yourself. All right. Yeah. No questions. No questions. You will ask me after. I do hope you practice the archangel. Yeah, there is not going to. You practice asking for help from archangels. This is important. Do that. If you didn't watch this, the video about archangels, please go back and watch it. It's important. Important to know that you have help and you have divine help. Who knows? Maybe if you will know that, you will become a high value woman faster. When you know that there is help behind you and that the help that supports you completely and fully. Um, so so yeah. So that's it. All right. Everybody, enjoy your Tuesday. It is new moon, so don't forget. Well, new moon was Friday, but it is the growing moon. So enjoy this time. Start something new. Do something, kind of grow and progress. All the plants, a lot of plants are in Gemini, so it's all about communication, the right communication, and the knowledge. I'll talk to you. mm, I'll talk to you on Thursday. Enjoy your Tuesday. Bye TikTok and bye YouTube. Bye everyone.